Oh, I'm gonna get into so much trouble for making this video, but we carry on anyway. So, the title of this video is called Engineering the Spiritual Experience, and for most Christians out there, especially the more mature ones, I'm pretty sure this rings quite a lot of alarm bells in your head. What? Engineering the spiritual experience? That's obviously heretical, but I think it's worth talking about. I think it's a topic that people don't usually engage with because it's so touchy, it's so it is kind of a taboo topic. So I'm gonna get into it, and I hope I don't get into trouble. And if you want to talk to me about it, sure, you can drop me a text. So I'll raise you a very extreme example so that you can get on the same page with me. Then I'll work it down to something closer to home. So let's start with well, something that I think everybody agrees would be wrong, which is faking a miracle so that people would turn to the religion, let's say. Let's use Christianity for example, right? So, I mean, I would say that it's not right to use the wrong means to, even though the ends are right? So if your end goal is to turn people to Christ, to evangelize, to make sure people convert to Christianity, then maybe sometimes people will be tempted to use wrong methods, like faking a miracle, for example. So this could come in many forms, right? I mean, if magic is fake, then it's possible to fake miracles. And one example is maybe faking that somebody could move from one place to another, or do some incredulous stuff like disappear and come back, or fly, for example, or turn water into wine, maybe, right? So faking a miracle, and then everybody around is like, whoa, that's crazy, this guy must be a man of God or something like that, and then they instantly turn to Christ. And well, it does what is intended, and well, it turns people to Christianity, but is that really the right way forward? And another example is like the faith healers. So let's assume that the people that go around faith healing, for example, there are phonies around, right? So they say that let's say I can heal your leg, for example, because it's uneven in length. Then they do some leg trick where they make it look like your leg is actually growing before your eyes, and then people convert to Christianity because they believe that was the power of God or something like that. But it was actually completely engineered by the people who were going around faith healing. So yeah, that's clearly something that is wrong, right? Another example is psychedelic drugs. So I've read before that when you take drugs that alter your state of mind, like I don't know, LSD, marijuana, you tend to get these visions and these hallucinations that could put you in a spiritual experience, spiritual-like experience. And some people even reportedly see God, see a higher being during these periods, and maybe it really is God, right? But it's worth thinking about whether using drugs to elevate your state of mind, to transcend, to have spiritual experiences is really right. Is it something that's ethical? Is it something that God desires for us to do? Yeah, so these are the very extreme examples of engineering the spiritual experience, which is forcing yourself to experience God, or forcing other people to experience God. And maybe that's easy to condemn, but let me bring it closer to home a bit. So this is still criticized by the more conservative people, which is the way that the mega churches like Hillsong or Bethel, the way they like to engineer their church services such that it kind of elicits a spiritual experience. So well, I've heard this criticism from atheists as well, that what they do with the church service is that they make it so, we use the term soaking, so they allow you to soak in the environment. So you can use things that normally elicit a spiritual experience, and one of the big things that does that is music. So if your music is just right, if it's done perfectly right, it could elicit some of the most powerful emotions that's known to humans, and if you put people in the right state of mind, if it's quiet, if the lights are dimmed, or there are really nice fairy lights around, for example, the music is just right, the drums is going well, the electric guitar is so soothing and so perfect, well, you could have a spiritual experience, right? And the reason I say that it could be engineered is because you could experience the same kind of feeling in a completely secular context. If it was not meant to worship God at all, you could still elicit and kind of surface these same emotions, right? I mean, the New Age stuff is completely separate from Christianity, and yet still manages to have people experience such spiritual experiences, right? So that's a less extreme but still kind of extreme example. And if you want to bring it even closer to home, and this is the one that's a bit more touchy, is regular church services. So the thing I'm trying to get at here is that we, at least the church leaders, the ones that are in charge, spend a great deal of time trying to think about how to create the most conducive environment for people to worship God, to encounter God, right? And well, this is in the form of making sure your music is good, making sure the lead singer is passionate, says the right things, making sure your environment is, it facilitates these kind of things lah. And so, the big question that I want to raise at the end of the day is, well, where's the line? Where is the line between forcing and, in fact, engineering a spiritual experience or encounter and, well, creating the environment for the spiritual encounter, right? And this is a question for all the spiritual leaders to ask themselves, right? And I think I have some semblance of a solution. And okay, first of all, it has to do with balance, but second of all, it has to do with your intentions, as all things are. If your intention is to be the one in control, to be the one who makes people respond, who makes people have those spiritual experiences, then I think it's where people go wrong. I think the intention should not be to be the one who causes them to have this experience, but rather be the one who gives them the avenues to have the experience. And that kind of means that if they don't have that experience, it's fine. So what the ideal thing to do is to have in mind that you want to give room for the Holy Spirit and God to, well, speak to the person. And it's not you speaking, it's God speaking. And so if the person doesn't respond, then it's up to God. It's up to God how much they want to reveal to them, and how open their hearts are and things like that. And so your intention shouldn't be to see results, but it should be to have the potential for results. Right? Results meaning the spiritual experience. Then I think it won't go too far. And I think as with all things, pride, control, wanting to see fruits is always the pitfall of, I would say, religious endeavor, right? When it becomes corrupt and you would rather look like you're doing things, look like you're successful, than actually be successful. And so that's the end of the video. Engineering the spiritual experience. Where is the line? And I think that's something that all the spiritual leaders have to, well, find out. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!